Hello my lovely Leos, lovely Leo fire signs. I hope this video finds you well, and I'd like to thank you for stopping by and taking a look. Just to introduce myself, I'm Robert from Grey Moon Tarot, and if you didn't read my description bar, just to put you in the picture, I've been reading cards for about 2 months now, so I'm fairly new to this game, so I don't claim to be an expert, and I certainly don't know everything there is to know about every single card in the tarot deck. I am learning, therefore I would like to say that I'm not trying to steal any of the other wonderful card readers on here's thunder by any means, and I think they're all wonderful, and I've watched pretty much every single card reader on YouTube, and I'm fascinated and love their work. So you might notice the cards as well, they're slightly different. If you do watch a lot of tarot readings, I just don't think I've come across another reader that uses these ones. This is a tarot deck. It's a Marseille tarot deck. Okay. A lot of the symbol, the imagery on the cards is different, but a lot of the meanings do actually ring the same. So yeah, I was drawn to them at the start of the year. I got a new tarot deck, and just for some reason I was drawn to them. And then, as I said, about a couple of months ago, I was sort of reading up on about how to do it properly, because I've always sort of dabbled with them, just dealt them and chucked them out. But I actually did a wee bit of research on how to do it, and I realised that by getting a connection, I was actually getting quite good readings. So I started off by reading for people close to me and friends of friends and things like that, and I discovered that it was actually quite accurate. So I was kind of drawn to post videos on YouTube. I was just lying relaxing just yesterday. Actually, this is the fourth video I've made. I was lying relaxing yesterday, and just something says to me, "No, just go and do it. Just go and do it." And I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just I was drawn to do it. So I am a being. I am a being. What I'm told, like a good boy, and doing them. But I certainly hope that this reading does resemble something for you. My belief is that the messages that come through from Spirit through the cards to me are the messages that are of importance just now. And of course, not everyone's life, not every Leo's life's following the same path. So no, that'd be reckless for me to even think that this would resonate with everyone. But I certainly hope that this message does strike a chord with a lot of people, and if it does, I would love to hear actually. I'm be grateful for feedback with being just fairly new to this. I'll apologise as well for the video quality and possibly even the sound quality. Um, Obviously, as I was just starting out, I don't have all the fancy equipment that the other lovely readers on here have. Over time, I might invest in that. We'll see how it goes. I'll see what feedback I get. I'll see if I get shot down completely or not. So yeah, I'll get started with the reading just now. I'll just talk about what I've done. So we've got a 9 card spread in front of us here, reading. There was no extra cards that jumped out. Sometimes you get when you're shuffling, a card flies out to strike importance to the reading, but there wasn't anything that came out for you today, which doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that they're quite happy with the reading that's come out for you without any additional messages. So a 9 card spread, general energy reading. General energy readings last for up to about 6 to 8 weeks, roughly, for the energies to come in. But you might be thinking as I'm talking, well, no, I had that, 15 years ago or 6 years ago or however long ago. But what you have to remember is that these things do come back around. It's amazing how you think that something's long gone in the past, and then you open your wardrobe one day and there's that old frock that you bought just falls out, and you think, wow, that's maybe not a very good example, but I'm sure you get what I mean. So I'll stop babbling now, and I'll get on with your reading. As I'm just new as well, and don't know the cards inside out, I have made some notes at the side there, just so I don't want to mix up the meanings of the cards. I'm sure you can appreciate that I'm not wanting to give out any false meanings of cards or things, because I would probably receive a lot of nasty comments from people who are much more experienced than me. So we shall get started. So the first card that came out here was the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords can be a card of affection, friendship, tenderness. I also think it can be like a head or heart decision. Do you know, it can be like a real sort of weighing down on your mind decision about what you do about something. It could be a choice between, do I move? Do I stay where I am? You know, do I stay with the partner I'm with? Do I move on to someone else? It can be these big sort of decisions that really weigh you down. Another meaning for the card can be, you've had a bit of a difficult time, or you know someone that's had a bit of a difficult time, and what you're doing is you're offering your sword to them, and they're offering their sword to you. So it's like a kind of joint protection thing, which is really lovely. If you've got that situation in there, it's really nice to see. I think that people need to do that a bit more, is offer their support and love to people around them. The world would be a better place. So the next card that came out, not meaning to get all political there, I do apologise. The next card that came out is the Ace of Swords. So another Swords card. The Ace of Swords, Ace cards are cards of beginnings. Now, could it be talking about the head or heart decision? You make a decision, leads to a new beginning. Possibly could be. The Ace of Swords talks about a card being a card of force. It talks about triumph, but it can be triumph in sort of like a love and hate. And I don't mean like relationship wise. I just mean like the love for something or the hate of something. So yeah, I mean the sort of triumph side of it there as well. It also could be because it's like a beginning. You could be getting offered. This often comes out of nowhere to give you the power, I suppose, to cut through any negativity or any indecision you've got, which would tie in quite nicely, I suppose, with the head or heart decision. You've actually got this new beginning now, and you can just cut through that indecision and decide what you actually want to do, which is always good if you're really stuck with a tough decision like that. It's not easy. It's really not. So the next card that came out there is the Queen of Cups. Now, the Queen of Cups is a very honest and devoted woman. She'd make a good mother and a good spouse, without a doubt. She's very emotionally mature and knows what she wants. Now, this could be representing you, Leo. I mean, just because it's a cups card, it could be representing you. It could also be representing a man. Let's take the sex, the gender away from the cards. That doesn't matter. Men can take on the attributes of a queen. There's no problem there at all with that. So, I mean, looking along that top row, head or heart decision, something comes in, I'm just reading it like this, something comes in that gives you the ability to cut through it, and then you find yourself in the place where you're emotionally mature. You actually feel like you've kind of reached your emotional peak now, and you're not worried about it. She's not worried about, what people think or feel about her now. She knows who she is. So that's a really good place to be, Leo, if you can get there. Next card here is the Hanged Man. Now, a lot gets said about the Hanged Man. He's a major arcana card, which means he has quite a strong message in there. Hanged Man can be a card of wisdom, sacrifice even. It can be like looking at things from a different perspective, I suppose. I always like to think of that. When you think of a man getting hanged, if somebody was really wanting to do him any damage, they're not going to hang him by his foot so he could reach up and untie the knot, are they? They would do it around his throat. So no way. So it's just like something's in suspense. He's maybe just lying, hanging there, thinking, oh, actually, I could get out of this, but he's not quite there yet because he's still just dangling about in suspense. So, but it could be the fact that he's making a point whilst he's hanging there. Again, I'm going on the babbling line again. I do apologise. The next card that came out is the Chariot. Now, the Chariot is a card of triumph, movement, obviously victory as well. Can be, in its more sinister side, it can be a card of like vengeance as well. But I don't see that in this reading at all. I don't see any vengeance needed in this reading whatsoever. In the real world, it can be about travel with a vehicle, because I suppose in the day, and that's depicted as the chariot, the two horses drawing a cart, and that would have been the modern day, BMW, or there's obviously other makes of cars available. But you know, that sort of idea, and it can sometimes signify that there could be a bit of a problem around travel, or problem around, you know, a vehicle or something like that. That's not so unheard of when you see the chariot. Although in this reading, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing, you know, that there's any travelling really going on. I think this is more, you know, about a victory, and I think that victory maybe comes when you reach this emotional stability, when you reach your emotional maturity. That's where the victory comes in. There, I think that's what that is, personally. The next card that came out is the Eight of Wands. Oh, sorry, the Eight of Wands, Eight of Batons, Eight of Rods, whatever you would like to call them. I always like to think of the traditional Rider-Waite decks for this, when it's like the arrows getting shot across the field. Talks about a swift situation, or something coming in fast, which is always good, you know, when you've got positive cards around you. You want that, you want it now. I want it yesterday. So it's always a really positive one as well. It can also be the arrows of love, although there isn't really much speaking of love here, other than, you know, the emotional side coming in quickly, and then there's a card down the bottom here which could represent characters. You know, that there is that possibility as well. But we'll get down to that bottom line in a minute, and I'll throw a couple of stories together which might give you an idea. I'm not saying they're right, but they might give you an idea. The next card out is the Seven of Coins. Now the Seven of Coins has got kind of mixed meanings. It can be like a card of business, in a positive sense. You know, business, it can just be talking about the sort of mundane life within business. It can also, depending on what's around it, can be talking about, you know, sort of quarrels and sort of battles around money as well, like maybe some sort of minor disagreements around money and stuff like that. But do you know, I don't know, I think that's just there to remind us that there's an earthly element about what you're doing in your everyday life. I think that, you know, obviously coins represent the earth, earth signs, and they're sort of like the more sort of mundane. I'm an earth sign, so I can say that they represent the more sort of mundane, hard-working side. Not that any other sign's not hard-working. I'm going to end up digging a bigger hole for myself here in a minute. But that's kind of what they represent there. So I mean, it is very possible that there might be, you know, this emotionally, you know, content woman or man does kind of find a success, but there is some sort of money worry around it. You know, there is some sort of quarrel about money around it. But I don't think, she doesn't look bothered. She doesn't look bothered. He certainly doesn't look bothered. And he's just too busy dangling upside down, not giving a hoot what's going on. So I think you're absolutely fine with what's around him. And I tell you, the card next to it, the Knight of Swords, he certainly would not care. Any battles, like, he would win that battle, hands down, not a problem. Charging in on his horse there, the knight. The knight is the offer bringer. You know, by rights, the knights bring offers in. And you know, the Knight of Swords, swift action. He comes rushing in. You know, he might be rushing in with an offer of love. He might be rushing in with an offer, a business offer. He might be rushing in with like some sort of offer of business, but then doesn't quite agree with, you know, what your emotionally content self wants to do, and then, you know, it turns into a bit of an argument. But the thing is with the Knight of Swords, they're so swift that they're gone just as soon as they arrive. Knight of Swords, I mean, his horse has been drinking energy drinks, I think, and just flies through. So I don't think there's really anything negative around that. I mean, the Knight of Swords is a card of skill and bravery. Yeah, pretty much just kind of goes as quickly as he arrives, I suppose, in some cases. Which, you know, if this was a love reading, I'd be saying, well, be aware of that. But it's not a love reading, so I think we're alright. I don't think there's anything to be too concerned by. You might find this person might just sweep you off your feet, whether it be in sort of professional terms or however you want to see it. Next card, oh, we've got another earth sign, another earth card. Oh, another message bringer as well. Now the difference between there's a few differences between the cards, obviously, but this Knight of Coins, his horse is a heavy, steady horse. You know, he's not moving as fast as this man. He's not coming flying in. He's coming in steadily. You know, so I'm along. Yeah. I'm down to earth. I'm grounded. I don't. You know, I don't need to come in swiftly. I know what I'm all about. You know, you look at the imagery as well. You know, the Knight of Swords is carrying a sword. The Knight of Coins, what's he carrying? It looks like some sort of baseball bat. No, it's like he's carrying a wand. So he's not any threat. You know, he's not here to mix up the to mix up the apple cart or anything. Or you know, he's here for your advantage. He's here to be of a service to you. He's here to take interest in what you're doing, and you know, he's a stable, down to earth character. Very, you know, very practical as well. It tends to mean, you know, earth signs practical. So to save babbling anymore and trying to play up the earth signs, because I'm not really wanting to be biased. I'm not, because I love all the signs. I would just pop up a couple of stories together here. I think I'll see what I can read across here. So I think I've already kind of touched on this. You know, head or heart decision. You get this sword that comes in, which helps you to cut through and reach your emotionally content state, which is good news, really good news if that's the case for you. It can be that you're offering a bit of support, or you know, offering to be on someone's side. You know, so you're sharing this beginning together, or under the, you know, this blessed beginning under the crown. Oh, sorry, I've drew the imagery there. There's a crown on top of the sword there, so it can be like quite a noble beginning there, and you know, you maybe be feeling like a queen. You maybe feel like a queen. You maybe feel like you know, cream of the crop, without a doubt, with that. So, what about the Hangman? Is he in suspense? I don't think so. He's followed by the Chariot and swift movement. I don't think so. I think there has been something in suspense, though. I think that's what it is. There's been something in suspense, and and now is the time to move. Now is the time to get in the car, turn on the engine, and drive. You know, drive to what you're wanting, and figuratively speaking. And then there you go. Swift actions. By you freeing yourself up from being in suspense, you're going to make this movement or victory success, and it's going to happen quickly, just because you've decided to untie that rope and climb down. Because you're not being hung, not by your throat. You maybe have a sore ankle, but you're fine. You'll be able to drive. Right. So what we're saying down here, 7 of coins. 7 of coins. So the 7 of coins, could it be business related? You know, you've maybe got the choice between a couple of people to have in your business. You've got one person who maybe seems like, you know, they're good, they're brave, they're going to come in and really shake things up for you. But then you realise they're gone as soon as they come, but you're still left with the person that's maybe not quite as quick, but they're honest and reliable, and they're going to be there for you. That's a possibility. So you've got here as well the Queen of Cups, reading down the way. The Queen of Cups, who is emotionally mature. There's a swift action involved, which leads her to, this character, perhaps, or it leads her to an offer, or to offer something out, or it leads to an offer coming to her. Potential. So look here, Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords, the new beginning, brings about movement, and something comes in, super fast. This new beginning, it might be just a world window. In this, if you go down the line of this very quick offer, snapshot decision, or along those lines. You've got the head or heart decision, which ties in nicely with the being in suspense card. Something's been in suspense because you've had this head or heart decision, and it maybe is causing a bit of quarrels, a bit of battles. Maybe about yourself. It's maybe being like a head or heart decision about do I keep the business? Do I sell the business? I'm in suspense about it. I'm a bit fed up. I would rather be lying on a beach in the Bahamas or something, but you know, oh, the business partners here, my business partners here aren't going to be too happy if I, you know, just sell up the business. So it could be something along those lines as well. But you know, I mean, I could put together another 20 stories or so to go over them. But you know, you're going to know what's right for you. I've kind of given you what the cards mean. These are the energies. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean it's telling a story. It doesn't necessarily mean it's telling a story. These are the energies that's around you. If it has resonated with you, great, because you know these stories pop into my head, and if they're relevant to you, then you were meant to hear them, I believe. So again, I'd like to thank you for watching my video. Again, apologies for any babbling, and I apologise for the video quality and sound quality if there's been any issues with the sound. Um, I will, in the future, if I'm continuing with the readings, depending on feedback, will invest in, I think I've already mentioned this, see I'm babbling, I will invest in better equipment in the future if I'm going to be continuing. So if you'd like to leave feedback, feel free to leave some feedback, but bear in mind, I've held my hands up from the very start and says I'm not a professional, and I did have to read notes and things like that throughout the reading, so any positive comments would be appreciated. I realise there's a lot of people out there that probably think I could do better than that, and you know what? If you can, just do it. You know what are you waiting for? This is brilliant. You get to sit with an audience of people listening to you babble. Anyway, right, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you very much for watching. Love and light.